my screen in terms of my PowerPoint slides.
Yes, you will be allowed. You will be enabled to share the screen. I will ask Mr. Rahul.
Okay, perfect.
First,
yes.
In the beginning, I will give some initial remarks, and then I will introduce you, and then I will ask Rahul to share the screen. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No issue.
यस सर, ये कभी भी अपना स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकते हैं, वेक को होस्ट है.
अच्छा, ओके, मैं इनको पूछ लेता हूं, है ना. प्रोफेसर वालकुमार, you know how to share the screen, right?
No, not really. What do I have to do in particular?
So you are connected through your laptop, am I right?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So
जी, उन्होंने स्टार्टिंग में कर लिया था, उनको आता है शायद से. आप जुड़ने से पहले उन्होंने ऑलरेडी कर लिया था.
अच्छा, what I understand, Professor Walkmer, actually you already had done in the beginning.
Yes.
So same way you have to do again, okay? Same way.
Okay.
And still, I mean, Mr. Rahul will help you. He is there. We will tell you how to do that. Okay, don't worry.
Okay, perfect.
राहुल, थोड़ा देखना, हेक्टर करके हैं, HECTOR, हेक्टर.
नो सर, अभी तक वो ज्वाइन नहीं हुए शायद से.
हेक्टर माल्डानो फेलिक्स. Can you, Hector, if you are there, can you raise your hand? Professor Hector.
So Hector.
Professor Hector, no, not Walkumar. Professor Hector, yes. Oh, yes, he is there. Yes, he is there. Hello, how are you?
प्लीज अनम्यूट योर माइक.
राहुल, हेलो.
अनम्यूट करने को बोलो उनको माइक.
अच्छा, हाँ, ही इज देयर. मतलब तुमको दिख तो गए ना अभी?
जी, उन्होंने स्क्रीन शेयर की है.
अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं.
लेकिन can you hear me?
Hello, yes, Hector.
Sorry.
I can hear you. Yes. Thank you. You can now you can you kindly?
Yes. I can hear you. Now. I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
So you are also there, Professor Walkumar also there. Very good. So can you remove now this your PPT at the moment, because first speaker is Professor Walkumar.
Oh, okay. Wait a moment.
Yes, no problem, no issue. Yes, very good. I am very happy to see you. It is midnight in your country.
Yes, it's a little difference hours.
Okay, no issue.
Yes.
हाँ, मुझे जरा स्पॉटलाइट पे ले आओ राहुल, मैं जरा स्टार्ट करना चाहता हूँ. हाँ, बोलिए आदिनाथ भगवान की जय. बोलिए 24 तीर्थंकर भगवान की जय. Dear friends, along with our national president, Shri Nirmal Kumar Ji Sethi Babu Ji, I welcome to all of you in this international webinar. The webinar which we are conducting since last 16th of August. Today is the 9th session of this international webinar on the exploring antiquity of Jainism in Asia, Africa, and America. You know that the first session was conducted on 16th of August, when I gave also keynote address. It's a wonderful time that we spent in last 2 months. And today the 9th session is still continuing on the same subject. And we have heard many scholars, many scholars from Ethiopia, Bangladesh, Cambodia also. And now today we are very much fortunate and glad to hear from Germany and Peru. Today, as you know that from the message which we have communicated to all of you, we have two speakers. We have two speakers. One is Professor Volkmar Enslin. He's basically from Germany, but currently he is staying in Thailand. And my second speaker is a well-known big scholar of the world, Professor Hector Maldonado Felix. I would like to first actually invite the first speaker. And before I invite, I would like to give a brief introduction of Professor Volkmar Enslin. Basically, Professor Volkmar, he is German scholar. He is from Germany, but currently he is staying in Thailand. He is currently teaching in the College of Religious Studies at Mahadol University in Thailand. Dr. Volkmar Enslin has a wide expertise, as well as I would like to say wide experience in Buddhist leadership and Buddhist business ethics, corporate social responsibility, corporate governance, leadership development, and crisis management. And thereby, he is a very widely known as a public speaker and trainer in this area. He received a fellowship to study Mandarin language in Beijing at the Foreign Studies University. And since then, he started to combine that his knowledge of this, what I should say, business on one side, and the other side, the academic culture of the Buddhist. So these two things he did in a very nice way. And I should say the same thing, that on one hand, Dr. Volkmar has been working in global projects across Europe, USA, and Asia with renowned clients like ABB, Brown, General Motors, etc., even IRIA also. And on the other hand, same thing he is doing in a very different way, that is with the Buddhist philosophy. And he is using his Buddhist knowledge for the business corporate. He obtained his PhD in Buddhist studies from Mahidol University. His topic was Buddhist leadership ethics in the 21st century. In Phakon Phet, he carried out a philanthropic activity as a founder and executive director of this charity, Tikam, very well-known organization, I should say, because they are working for the Cambodian children. You know, the Cambodia, last time we had a very big conference on the Cambodia, and our professor B.L. Sethi, he gave a talk on Cambodia. And initial introduction, I told that Cambodia is nothing but actually the Cambodge Pradesh, Cambodge country, and same Cambodia. So he is actually deeply involved in the promotion of the better lives for the Cambodian children. Currently, he is also conducting research in Jain business ethics and regarding leadership guidelines for the 21st century corporate business world in the Jain canon. it is very brief. I mean, if I will start to read, actually, he has done a lot of work, and he is a very well-known researcher as well as a business professional. With this very brief introduction, I humbly and sincerely invite Professor Waldemar Enslin to give his talk. Please, now you can share your screen and you can load your PPT.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Rajma Jain. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for this very kind and extraordinary introduction of my personality. And thank you very much for having me. I'm very honored to participate in this conference. I now try to share my slides. I hope this works for you. Can you see my slides, my opening slide?
Not at the moment. It has not come on the screen.
Okay. Can you quickly tell me how do I do this? Because I say opening.
Have you already opened in your laptop on one side? Your already PPT is there?
Yes, my PPT is open.
So now you go to PPT and then give it a full screen.
Yes, it's on full screen. Yes.
Rahul?
सर उनकी स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हुई, पहले उनको शेयर करना पड़ेगा. Share.
Okay. First you do is the share, screen share. You have not done the screen share. You go to please.
I have screen share for
yes.
3 participants.
No, in between there is a screen share word. Is there?
First of all, you click a screen share button, then basic.
See, there is a share, screen share. There is a.
Okay, it should be done right now. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So you have the screen now, right?
Yes, we have the screen now. Yes, you can start. Thank you.
Okay. So as you can read, right, I'm talking today about the analysis about the development of the Shramana religions along the Silk Road. So the Silk Road, what is the Silk Road? When we talk about the Silk Road, we talk about it's developed from the 5th century before the Common Era, BCE, before the Common Era, onwards nearly for a millennium. And it was a center of culture which benefited its location called the Silk Road, connecting the West with the East. And this center was characterized by spiritual movements between China and actually the Byzantium, the West, India and Persia, which encountered and influenced each other. And we have archaeological material which was found from 45 early historic settlements, which indicates truly that this route was partially started to be in use from the 5th century before the Common Era. So the Silk Road started from the eastern point onwards, origin in Chang'an nowadays, or these days, nowadays called Qiang'an in China. And the capital of the Chinese, at that time, the capital of ancient Chinese, the Han Kingdom, and followed along the Great Wall of China to the northwest, continued along the oasis of the Taklamakan Desert via Karakorum and Hindu Kush, Kashmir, through parts of today's Pakistan and northern Afghanistan until Oghuz and Merv in Turkmenistan in the western end. So here you see the map, right? This is overlooking the whole Silk Road. Now, this is the overview, right? But if you look into more detail, you can see here in the broader, in the dark red line, you see from the eastern part, from China into the western part to Europe, the dark lines, this is the main Silk Road. But you can see the thinner lines going towards to the southern part of India. And this is the sub-Silk Road, right? You can see that even we have small routes through India, which are supporting the main route of the Silk Road. Now, from there, the merchandise was shipped across the Mediterranean Sea. We talk about the western part, right? When it arrived, I go slightly back. When we arrived here on the western part in what we call now Turkey, the Arabia, when it arrived there, the merchandise was shipped across the Mediterranean Sea, the Silk Road, across the 6,400 kilometer long caravan track, carried goods as an Asian trade route, as well as ideas. So when we talk about the Silk Road, we always think about, it's always about goods. No, it's always about ideas and philosophy. And ideas and philosophy is also about religions. So we had an exchange between the two great civilizations of Rome, in the western part, and China, in the eastern part, between the exchange of goods as well as ideas and religions. So silk came westwards, while wools, gold and silver went to the east. So the Silk Road was neither geographically nor politically one unified area. When we talk about the Silk Road, it was whole aiming solely to describe a road within the first millennium in the Christian area or common area, which connected several peoples in different empires. And along the Silk Road, several cities served as centers for the dissemination of ideas and material culture. And so along, because of these ideas, several stories, and now I talk about specifically what we know in terms of Buddhism, Pita stories and the Jatakas were shared among the travelers along the Silk Road. And they show that merchants contributed to the spreading of Jainism and Buddhism along the Silk Road. I will show you later on why I say this. Now, I come to my argumentation why the dissemination of Jainism and Buddhism along the Silk Road had happened. After merchants had picked up the ideas of Jainism and Buddhism, and with rising trade along the Silk Road and the active exchange of ideas among merchants, new social forms developed. And they are interrelated with each other and well explained by concepts such as the legitimation of commercial values. And that was brand new to these times, because the nature and legitimation of city lives and the legitimation of urban-based centralized states, and finally the legitimation of post-tribal culture, led to a shift from rural to urban-based life. So you have to think about 2,500 years ago. This was a big societal transformation to move from rural to urban-based life and society life forms. All this development played out in favor for Jainism and Buddhism. All these developments linked to the rise of Shramana religions. And we call this academically a positive style of argument, positively because it played in favor for Jainism and Buddhism, to the fact that besides the different values of merchants, Jainism and Buddhism flourished essentially on account of its appeal in this urbanized society of the rising urban state. So with the rise of the cities, of the urbanized society, that played very well into the favorism of Jainism and Buddhism, of the Shramana religions. Why? I tell you later on. So additionally, the link between a flourishing Jainism and Buddhism, also the ethical discipline extending beyond the domain of renunciation and inspiring the new urban classes, suggested that Jainism and Buddhism would appeal especially to merchants and craftsmen, in fashion of not entirely dissimilar from Weber's notion of Protestant work ethics. Now, when I talk about Weber's notion of Protestant work ethic, you probably have heard of the German philosopher Max Weber. And Max Weber used his argument of the Protestant work ethic regarding Christian religion. And he says that among Christians, you know, in Christianity, you can divide up, right? You can say there are the Protestants and you have the Catholic. And he found out that astonishingly, the Protestants are more business-wise successful than the Catholic. And why is that so? Because the Protestants, they have a higher discipline, they have a higher work ethics, and therefore they're highly more successful in their working relationship, and therefore they're more wealthy. And this is called Weber's analysis of the Protestant work ethic. And Richard Gombrich, a well-known professor about Buddhism in Oxford, he came up and took these Max Weber notions and said, we can apply this to Buddhism as well, in terms of that actually these Shramana religions, what we find in Buddhism and in Jainism, is this ethics, this very strong ethics and this very strong discipline. And therefore, this ethics and discipline leads to a higher disciplined life and a more higher work ethics, and therefore more higher successful business life. So if a craftsman or a businessman adapts Buddhism and Jainism, the likelihood that he or she is successful is more higher. This is what I mean by applying Weber's notion of Protestant work ethics. We can discuss this later on after I finish my presentation. Now continue. On the other hand, what plays in favor is the Brahminical order and its institution of the case was opposed, right, to the full development of urban societies, because 2,500 years ago, the Brahminical case system was in contrast to this very, at that time, very progressive thinkers of the businessman, and therefore united the interests of princes and merchants in Jainism and Buddhism. And you know all this. I mean, this is a slide which I normally use for people who are not familiar with the caste system, but you know this four caste system: the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, Sudras, and the Chandalas. And as you know, the merchants, the businessmen, would be in the Vaishyak caste. And what offers Jainism and Buddhism is, they say, no, you're not limited to this caste by birth. You are limited to your case by what you are doing, by your intention, by what you're doing in this very life. Therefore, this anti-caste system of Hinduism was very appealing to the businessman. And on top of this, later on, the implementation of the monetary coin system, which was established from the 4th century before the Common Era, also accelerated the economic wealth system, which played in favor for the businessman. So early Buddhism and in Jainism was deeply entangled with money and business transaction in early India, such as the pursuits of monastery, money laundering, and securing credits. The Sangha acted as an economic guild, or like an enterprise comparable with modern banks. So we have texts who regulated how to deal with financial issues, like giving loans to poor people was flagged risky. That does not actually leave the impression that the Sangha, the follower of the religion, as a pure social institution, rather more as a social institution with a rational business side, where money was used to serve as a means of business. So all this illustrates that there existed a strong connection between Jainism and Buddhism and the business world right from the early arising of the Shramana traditions onwards. So the suttas do not really tell direct advices to business leaders. But according to my research, many advices of the Buddha are linked to business matter and merchants. And if I would present you this, that would give me another hour of my presentation. So in that case, you just have to believe me. Oh, by the way, in my screen, I have something which pops up. Do you have the same thing? It's a yellow line. It's not for me.
Yes, I'm also able to see that yellow line. I will ask Rahul. Rahul, can you remove this line? Rahul, आप line मिटा पाएंगे? Okay, you can go ahead, Professor Walkmara. Yes, done. Done.
Okay. So now, what are the ethical implementations of the urbanization, and why is this linked to the economic success of Jainism and Buddhism? Now, so far, little is known about the early connection between wealth and Shramana traditions. Little is known about what made this early Jain and Buddhist community prosper. However, monastic life was possible through property, building, money, unfortunately also forced labor, and corporate organization. And what we know for sure, okay, and this I have to say, refer to early Buddhism. Now we can only, we can only assume the same can happen also for Jainism, but we have pointers towards Buddhism. Early Buddhism was particularly attractive for merchants because of mercantile wealth was not ascribed but achieved. The same we can say for Jainism actually. And so it appealed largely to new men who did not fit well into the four Varna system of Brahmin ideology, which I said before, the 4-case system. Moreover, since Buddhism was not attached neither to community nor to locality, nor to shrine, nor to heart, but resided into the hearts of its adherents, it was readily transportable. And when something is transportable, it's suited to people who moved around. Who moves around are the merchants. So whether changing residence from village to town or traveling on business, hence it spread along the trade routes because it was the traders, the merchants, the businessmen. They are the one who are spreading the religion, the idea, the religions, and the thoughts and the philosophies. So this argument has been academically formed for Buddhism. But Buddhism and Jainism is so close, I think we can apply exactly the same to Jainism. And I come back to this argument at the very end of my session. Now to continue, and now I refer back again to a Buddhist text, the Jatakas. The Jatakas tells legends to encounter with traders or sons of rich merchants. And the Jatakas, they tell stories about social atmosphere. And these Jatakas have been exchanged among traders on caravan routes. And these routes have been exchanged at caves. You can imagine these caves, right? At that time, they have served as hotels or hostels for the merchants. So you can imagine when you have done, right, you traveled along the trade route, and then after a long working day, you settle down in your hotel, which is a cave, and then you sit together with foreign people, and then you exchange stories, in that case, Jatakas. So you exchange ideas, and with this exchanging of the ideas, you exchange philosophies, religions, thoughts, ethics. And therefore, merchants exchanging ideas of religions which fits to merchants, which is Buddhism and Jainism, you rather take it on. So this presentation served to illustrate that there always has been a connection between Shramana traditions and what it means to conduct business in an ethical way. Especially their mutual development was actually always intertwined. In particular, the evidence we have that the connection between Shramana traditions and business goes back to the early period of the Silk Road. So when we talk about Shramana religions like Buddhism and Jainism, businessmen and the Silk Road, they are intertwined. They go together. They'll go back together. You cannot, they are interlinked. So my conclusion is, to summarize my arguments, the tradition along the Silk Road supported the uprising of these Shramana traditions. So the Silk Road played in favor for Buddhism and Jainism. And particular, it was the merchants who were attracted to the independence of Jainism and Buddhism, which offered them, in spite of the Brahmanical caste system, these two religions offered them to rise higher in their social status due to acquiring mercantile wealth. So while being limited by their Brahminical caste system, suddenly Buddhism and Jainism offered their mercantile wealth or their mercantile caste system to break out of this caste system and to rise higher. And that attracted them. And this is why businessmen were attracted to Jainism and Buddhism. Further on, both religions do not need fixed shrines, as I said before. They can be carried out by having their temple in one's heart, which enabled the trader to travel on to be religious austere at the same time. Hence, it was the merchants who spread the ideas of Jainism and Buddhism along the Silk Road, while doing business with people from other backgrounds or while sitting together in the evening in the caves. So this is a very nice argument, right? That suddenly an idea could spread through business because people exchange ideas by doing business along the Silk Road, and suddenly they met together. Nowadays would say, oh, after a serious business evening, we sit together at a hotel bar and have a drink and suddenly exchange some ideas. And at that time, it was a cave, and people sit together over a cup of tea and exchange ideas. So the later on, the Silk Road, there wasn't, so we talked about the Silk Road as a living entity, right? But later on, the Silk Road also was causing an uprise of societies among the Silk Roads, which led to an uprise of cities. And the uprise of cities with the coin system contributed to another increase of mercantile wealth, which again goes together with my previous argument that traders prefer Jainism or Buddhism over the social limiting Brahminical caste system. So finally, to conclude my argument, we have two economic systems which led to the uprising of Jainism and Buddhism. First, the merchants do trades along the Silk Road. As I said, it led to the spreading of the ideas and the philosophy and the ideas and the thoughts of the religions. And second, the merchant being active within the cities along the Silk Road, and therefore led to the spread of the ideas of Jainism and Buddhism, going together with the coin system and nowadays would say financial system. Now, with all this argumentation, which I said, okay, I'm very well aware that there exists far more literature, what I have talked about, regarding early Buddhism concerning the Silk Road in comparison with Jainism. However, both Shramana religions show a similar development and rate of popularity among the merchant class and turn them into successful traders during the Silk Road's time. And this lasted even until today, business world. Because if you look in today's business statistics, according to the last statistics I have read from India, it's, according to my knowledge, please correct me if I'm wrong, you have something like 0.3 or 0.5% of Indians are chains. but your contribution of the contribution of chains to the GDP is 5%. That's huge. So that means that the chains are very successful businessmen, and that must have a reason, and that must go back to the Chinism, to the religion, to the ethical system, and therefore that supports my argument. With Max Weber, as I said before, it has something to do with a religious work ethics, and Ramana religions is supporting definitely mercantile wealth and business ethics. My concluding argument. Thank you so much for listening. I'm opening my discussion right now.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Walkmar. Very nice and interesting talk. Now I invite comments, questions from the audience, if they have. I think Shri P.C. Chabla, he had hand raised over there at that time.
Yes.
Any
I
questions?
would like to have a question, please. Yes.
Yes, please, your question.
Yes. Professor, thank you very much for your lecture. Professor, the relationship within Kushan Empire, no? The Kushan Empire, this is in the early times, has a great connection. And after, we can see a change to the North India and Buddhists. In your experience, research this area, how we can explain this change in Kushan Empire. In the early times, in the first kings, the Kushan Empire, we see Greek influence in the money, in iconography, I think. But in the history of the Kushan Empire, we see turn to the North India, take the Buddhists. Who can explain this change in this empire, in Kushan Empire?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Kushan Empire. You have to elaborate me, or you have to tell me more about Kushan Empire. I'm not familiar with this.
I write the question by the chat, if you can read.
Okay. Here, I think he says that he is not aware at all of Kushan Empire. So first he has to go through about Kushan Empire. Am I right, Professor Walkmar? That's what you say?
Yes. I don't know nothing about Kushan Empire. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. There is another question by Professor Okareshwar Pandey. Okareshwar Pandey, sab ka haan. Yes, please. Yes, please unmute your mobile.
Yes, I think it's unmuted.
Yes. Now audible. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Rajmal Jain Saab. And thank you, Walkumar and Slenji. I heard your views and I heard your detailed description. That was really enlightening. So thank you very much for this. One thing I wanted to say that the spread of Buddhist doctrines from India to China, beginning sometime in the 1st century CE, triggered a profusion of cross-cultural exchanges that had a profound impact on Asian and world history. The travel of Buddhist monks and pilgrims and the simultaneous circulation of religious texts and relics are not only stimulated interaction between the Indian kingdoms and various regions of China, but also influenced people living in Central and Southeast Asia. Indeed, the transmission of Buddhist doctrines from India to China was a complex process that involved multiple societies and a diverse group of people, including missionaries, internet traders, artisans, and also the medical professionals. But my point is something different. When we talk about the Silk Road, a series of trade routes, in fact, that connected the east and west, stretching some 4,000 miles like a multi-layered necklace, had India like a pendant in the center, and Magad dynasty in Bihar as a precious stone set in it. What made Magad one of the most important destination for the Silk Road travelers was not just a trade of silk, spices, incense, and textiles, but also peace, prosperity, science, and knowledge. So, and we have also seen that the Buddhism or Jainism is spread to China or other countries through India. So how do you see those days? Because we have been reading and we have been learning that a Chinese traveler Fahian came to India, and it was then to collect the texts, important texts of the Buddhist literature. So how do you see the importance of Magad dynasty, especially uh, in the Silk Route, and India as a center of the Silk Route to spread the Buddhism and Jainism not only in China but in the entire Central East Asia?
Say again, please. What is the point? What is the final point of your question? Say again.
How do you see the importance of India or importance of Magad dynasty in spreading the Jainism and Buddhism?
I mean, I refer back to my slides. Maybe you can remember
Yes.
this slide where I showed that the Silk Road, India is right in the middle, right? India is right in the middle between east and west of the Silk.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. How to? Yes.
So of course, I would say, right, if you travel east to west, we talk about 6,000 kilometers, and the likelihood that you make your biggest rest in the middle of while traveling, right, is in the middle of the route, and India is right in the north. So the likelihood that you encounter a lot of Buddhist or Jain businessmen is huge, right? It makes, if I look at my map,
This is what I wanted to hear from you, because Professor Walkumar, everybody knows in India, but slowly the world community has started forgetting that India has been the land of the originator of these two major religions to the world.
Yes.
That's why I'm emphasizing that.
No, but as I said, I mean, you be in mind, right? This is when we talk about from nowadays Turkey, right, to the western side of India. This is already 1/3, and then you have the upper north of India, which is another third, and then you have the eastern part, which is another third toward China. So the likelihoods that in the middle of the Silk Route, right, this is the center where actually people are exchanging their ideas, and that was the center of Buddhism and Jainism or Hinduism, right? But Hinduism was not attractive for merchants or for businessmen, because Hinduism was limiting businessmen, and therefore the businessman was more attracted to the ideas of Jainism and Buddhism. And this is the ideas they took on and therefore spread these ideas.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, any other question? If Professor Sudhir Singh is there, Professor Sudhir Singh, then I would like to have his comments also. Professor Sudhir Singh. He is there? Professor Sudhir Singh.
सुधीर सिंह है लेकिन अपना माइक अनम्यूट नहीं कर रहे हैं. आप
Professor Sudhir Singh, can you unmute your mic, Professor Sudhir Singh? I would like to invite you to give your comments, some feedback on this talk. Professor Sudhir Singh.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Rajmal ji. The lecture is quite informative for the newcomers like me who have just started the quest to understand the expansion of Jainism and thanks for organizers, particularly you, to visit us towards these terrains where we were not thinking even in dream. So the professor lecture is quite informative. It has given us a huge evidence of the expansion of Jainism in the particular area where, I mean, Peru and other parts of Latin America. So I understand that the evidences which he has come out, those evidences are quite good, but the thing is that we have to do our empirical study further to consolidate the kind of information which he has provided. We can work on that, and once Corona problem will be under control, we can again begin with those threads which professor has provided us. Actually, it is quite elementary and needs to further investigated. But the thing is that professor needs great congrats from us because he has done a commendable job. While locating all those things is not so easy, and making the things comparable to their indigenous system. So a professor has done a marvelous job. So he deserves a huge congratulations from us. And the lesson for us is here that we have to begin with, we have to accelerate our process to know the truth by taking further steps, comprehensive steps from our side. Thank you very much, Rajmanji.
Oh, thank you, Professor Sudhir Singh. Very nice suggestions. There is one more question by Professor Murad Khan. Can you unmute Murad Khan? Unmute your mic and ask question. Professor Murad Khan.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask a question that where there could be more possibilities of finding such places where we could, particularly in Latin America and in Peru, where we could also establish connections with the Jainism in future.
You are asking this question to Professor Walkumar.
Yes.
Okay, Professor Walkumar, his question. Can you address his question?
No, because I don't know anything about Peru, to be honest. I cannot.
Perhaps Professor Murad Khan, you can ask this question to Professor Hector, next
Hector.
speaker.
Yes.
Next
okay.
speaker.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, he may not be knowing. Professor Walkumar is from Germany. He may not be aware of how the Peru and other Latin America things.
Sure.
Okay, I think we had a very nice and very informative talk from Professor Walkumar. Celine, thank you very much, Professor Walkumar. Very interesting talk, very informative and very encouraging to undertake further research work on this Silk Route and connection between the Buddhism and Jainism.
May I make a comment? May I make a comment
Sure.
To the remark of the former professor who remarked on this? As I said, I'm very well aware that it has been done so far very little research on Jainism along the Silk Route. So what I'm saying is there is a lot of pointing evidence. Okay, there's a lot of pointing evidence that shows that the merchants accepted Jainism and Buddhism along the Silk Road. But if you want to nail it down to say we need clear evidence, that's difficult because we don't have this. There is hardly any research done. So what I'm saying is, I'm only saying we have a lot of pointers, we have a lot of evidence showing the connection between businessmen, Jainism and Buddhism along the Silk Road. But there is unfortunately no hard, solid research being done so far. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just showing pointers. I cannot come up with hard work.
Okay, very good remark. Thank you very much for this. This may be a good idea for our Digambar Jain Mahasabha, for Mr. Nirmal Sethi Babuji to plan out something for extensive research. Thank you very much, Professor Valkumar, once again. And now it is the time for my second speaker, Professor Hector Maldonado Felix. I think he has already joined. So can you bring him in spotlight, Mr. Rahul? Yes. Before he gives talk, I would like to introduce my speaker, Professor Hector. He is basically a professor in the Department of History of University National Mayor de San Marcos in the Peru. He is a wonderful, intelligent scholar. He did undergraduate as well as postgraduate in history. He also did diploma in the security and national defense studies at the National Center for Higher Studies at Peru. Professor Hector has an excellent record of receiving awards, honors, citations, and fellowships. In 2018 only, he received a very good award. He was from the World History Commission, and his funding was given for Professor Hector Maldonado by the National Environment for the Humanities, that is the Digital Humanities Advances Grants. Similarly, in 2018, this is very important. This is very important, which I am going to say, because he did a work almost related to the Jainism fundamental concept, non-violence, ahimsa, that he did work related to species conservation through innovative practices in USA and Peru, California State University, San Marcos. And this whole funding for that was provided by the Development Bank of Latin America, the US Development of State and Simperan Energy. Professor Hector contributed, and he has done several kind of coordination for more than 10 international projects. This is very important achievement by Professor Hector, that in 2019, he did a big project of what is known as Qing Dynasty, that is a global history program. He did 2018. He again did another Ischia multidimensional Branos Sigmo interior from the Peru of the University, the mayor at the San Marcos. So he has done big achievement. He has published more than 10 research papers in international peer-reviewed journals, and he has published a few articles in newspapers also. I'm extremely happy and to share that Professor Hector is director of Center for Social Responsibility of University de Mayor of San Marcos. He is also president of Commission for the Technical Cooperation at the same university site, and he is also coordinator for the international relations from the university site. And under this, because he is the main coordinator for international relations, we were invited in the month of January, and we organized a conference over there. He has been teaching and doing research interests. Basically, his research interests are in history of Asia, Africa. Then he has interest in modern history, transitional history, Latin America history, and his lectures, particularly one lecture which impressed not only to me, but the whole world, that Indian studies an opportunity to connect Peru and India, the two-country connection. And this was given at the Congress International de Studio of Jainism, which was organized combinedly, jointly by All India Digambar Jain Heritage Preservation Organization and the University of de Mayor San Marcos from 13 to 15 January 2020, this year, before the corona pandemic, at the Lima in the Peru. is also invited many times for that as an external review of the world, this historic journals. Then he has several kind of coordinator of agreement for Ministry of Education between the university and Ministry of the Peru. He is also advisor for the Ministry of Education. He is an advisor also in the international relations. Above all that, as a great humanity, he has shown and he has established a Trust Global Studies Initiative, that GSI, to organize the workshop for the education purposes for the Asia, Europe, America, and Oceania, etc. And he is doing many things under that umbrella. On the top of that, he has done many such kind of workshops, international workshop. He is also member of several international committees. And at the last but not the least, he is fellow of American Historical Association, which is a big achievement. And I would like to clap and congratulate my friend, Professor Hector, for this great achievement of fellowship by the American Historical Association. He is very well conversant with the Spanish, English, French, and Italian. I think in next few months, he will learn Hindi also, because sometimes he sends me message in Hindi. So he's learning those. And with this very brief introduction, I humbly and sincerely invite our guest, Professor Hector Maldonado Felix. Professor Hector, you can start now. Professor Hector, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rahmal. Well,
okay, wonderful.
Thank you very much. I want to express my appreciation to Oldigambard Preservation Organization. I remember, 2 years ago, to Kumar Jain Sethi to talk about the organize and congress and seminar in Lima with the Indian scholar, with Indian professor, the first time for Peru, in Peru experience, to connect with Indian scholar, with Indian university, was very key experience for my department, faculty, and university. And in this dialogue with Kumar, a question proposed, we can find connection between Chinese and American indigenous civilization, connection in the spirituality, in the aesthetic, we can find some connection. This is the question, well, in the first, we can say it's impossible, because the India and America is not connection in pre-modern time, in early modern times. It's impossible. But the idea is seeing some common topics between civilization, common topic, how to see the state, how to see the power, how to see architecture. This is idea, how these different civilization can connect with the topic, and the same approach. Well, and this question produce and review, the journals, the papers, and the research, This is idea in the origin, the lecture, Well, the Indian friends this year in January and February, I remember visits Mexico, visit Guatemala, visit the Maya archaeological sites. They connote, before they visit Caral. Caral is a principal Peruvian civilization, early Peruvian civilization. And the idea is continuing this research, no? Well, the idea is the Maya, the Andean, no? And the temple Maya, the temple in Andean civilization, in the early Andean civilization, and the Jainas civilization. Well, in Maya, well, Maya civilization is the Maya region extends through the countries of Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. It's a big area, no? 800 kilometers by 600 kilometers. There are two different weather climate in this region, no? The highlands, cold, and the tropical forests. The tropical forest was the very knowledge or key city-state in the Maya, but in the origins, the Maya live in the highlands. In this region, we have dozen theocratic city-states developed between the 2nd century before Christ and 14th century Christian area. Each city-state has several 10,000 inhabitants. They are big city. We can think in Tikal, Chichen Itza, similar polis in Mediterranean classic history. No? In 20th century, the people believe the Maya start in the first millennium before Christ, but now in 21st century, the archaeologists discovered in 2nd millennium before Christ, the first archaeological remains, the Maya civilization. And it's a continuity between the beginning and the last chapter, the Maya civilization, the connection, the pyramids and the astronomy, no? The astronomy, the pyramids. We can see Aguada Phoenix in Mexico, Tabasco State, near to Guatemala, no? 2nd millennium before Christ. We can see early Mayan architecture, connection between religion and the astronomy. No? This is a common experience in Andean, no? The astronomy and the religion and architecture. This region is near to Guatemala and Yucatan. It's Mexico, but it's near the Guatemala. No? In Maya history, we have several periods: the pre-classical, the classical, and post-classical. In the pre-classical, first millennium before Christ, there are some city-states as Natque. Natque is in Guatemala. No? We can find a model, the urbanist Mayan, and plaza and main square. We can temples and palace, no? And the temples, we can see 3 towers or 3 houses. This is a mythological and religion connection in the top of the pyramid near to main square or principal place. We have in 700 before Christian area, but this model continued until post-classical Maya urbanism. This is a continuity despite the different states, despite the different dynasty, but the urbanists continued this structure. In the pre-classical and classical Tikal, Guatemala, similar to Natque, we have a complex, the pyramids and principal square, connection with the lakes and the rivers. in my experience, we have two kind of pyramids. One for the rites ceremonies, and the second for the gods. No, this is the other example, the Maya architecture, Calakmul in Mexico, in first millennium Christian era, and Chichen Itza, classical and post-classical. Mayapan, the last chapter of Maya civilization, 12th, 14th century, no, in Mexico and Yucatan. Well, in Maya city-state, we have huge mounds and sunken circular place, flanked by outright monoliths. Monoliths connect with the gods and after with the kings. Unlike Egyptian pyramids, Maya civic religion structure were designed so that human could and indeed must for the interaction with gods. This is very important in the Maya urbanism, in the Maya experience urbanism. The place, the square, is a space to represent different ceremony and the connection with the ruling class and the people and the common people. They were the same as places that promotes and require human interaction. Human certainly needs the gods in order to survive, but the same was equally true for the deities. They need human to remember them in order to survive, a reciprocal universe. In the study, the Maya urbanism and Maya architecture, we can find this conclusion. No? There are reciprocal connection between the human and deities. No? Deities and the communities need to constant and continued dialogue. Maya has two kinds of pyramids. Both types of pyramids were similar in many ways. Yes, stone. They each has a steep steps as the side that will allow someone to cling to the top. They each were built for the religious purpose and for the gods. Yes, the first time of pyramid has a temple on the top and was made to be climbed by the priests to make sacrifice to the gods. But the second time of pyramid was a sacred pyramid built to our gods. This pyramid were not to be climbed. Pyramids are connected with main square plazas. Main square were not only public space, but that they also function as place designed for ceremony that are today described as public theater and performance. And different to the modern public space, no? And the Maya's main square and place need to similar and theater, similar and official activities, not only the for the for the run, for the walk. No, this is a official space in the city. Maya pyramid has a flat toes. There are pyramids inside and under exacting pyramids. Some pyramids serve as burial chamber for kings, similar to ancient Egypt. Many Maya buildings and temples were aligned with celestial being as the path of the sun. It is a characteristic of the original urbanism Maya. In Maya city, main squares are natural space made special by their surrounding architecture. First, the great stucco mask in pre-classical periods and suggest performance of Ineflas deity. In the 1 millennium before Christ. In the classical period, 1 millennium Christian era, we can see the stela representing kings, human, no? placed within the plaza, the main square. The ceremonial focus moved to a human scale. In the classic period, plaza started to be less accessible. It became place of collective memory. In the late classic and post-classic periods, it's very difficult and less accessible the plazas, the main squares. Maya basic belief in reciprocity, where the need for human presence and human appreciation is required for maintaining the existence of deities, events, and material scenes. We can find in Maya civilization, we can, in the first periods, hieratic, theocratic experience, and the classic period, we can find a more complex and more heterogeneous society and social experience. And the last period and the last chapter and the post-classical period, we can find more conflicts and more less accessible and less social movements, social promotion in this Maya society. No, this is the idea, the architecture. We can connection with the society in Maya. Well, in this general approach to the Maya architecture and Maya society, we can find the Jainese experience. The principal difference, the Jainese experience, is no strong connection with the state. Yes, we have connection with different states, but the Jainese has not the principal religion than a specific state in India history. No, there are Jainese in different dynasty and different states. No, in the Maya we can see continuous experience religion in different in the old periods, but in the similar religion, no? The similar religion, the similar gods. We can find religious texts similar in Jainese. In Maya, we have a problem. The Spanish conquest destroyed majority, the libraries, majority, the texts, a few survived. In this was interpreted by the Spaniards. We have the text in Spanish. It's difficult to access the text in Maya language. It's very few. We can, the idea is we can similar Bible canon in Maya civilization, in Maya religion. Well, is we can Maya is idea that, but not only a language. There are several languages in Maya. We can 20 languages in Maya family linguists. This is a very common architecture, common urbanism, but in cultural approach is very different in Maya. No, it's a in contrast with the Jainese. No? Well, and the big difference between the civilization, the violence, no? In Maya, the human sacrifice very principal in religion, but all people know the no violence in the Chinese experience, no? Well, and the second, the Andean experience. Well, the Andean experience, the South America, Peru. Peru has 3 regions, Amazonia, highlands, and coast, but the 2 regions, highlands and coast, is the principal for the original civilization, the indigenous civilization. The highlands is high altitudes and very cold, and the coast is a desert. in all year it's a few days rains, but the majority of year never rains in the coast. Andes. This territory includes the northern central southern part of Peruvian Andes, 1,500 kilometers long and 200 kilometers wide. It has a desert coast and system of heights, mountain, and plateau. The periods in Andes history: the Archives, the Formatives, the Early Intermediates, Wari Horizon, Late Intermediate, Inca Horizon. The Inca civilization was the last chapter, the Peruvian civilization, the Andean civilization. Really, the Inca horizon is less 1 century. Really, it's very, the people talk about the Inca, but really the principal foundation, the Andean civilization was the Caral, the Archive periods, the last Archive periods, and the second, the Wari periods, the Wari horizons, more important than Inca. No? Archaeological research locate the origin of Andean civilization in coast, in central coast. The oldest in America on the central coast characterized by the absence of the much for the rains. No? The coast has small rivers with irregular flows. Irrigation canals were invented around 4 millennium before Christ. There are big difference between states and irrigation in Peru. In the other place in the planet, we can have connection between canals and state, no? Canals, no? Agriculture irrigation after the state, but in Peru is big, long distance. The sea, the Peruvian Sea, is characterized by having a low temperature and very rich marine fauns. The first civilization, the first Peruvian civilization, is based on agro-fishing economy. On Central Coast, it is considered the origin of the first American civilization, 2,800 before Christ, that extended from Fortaleza River to Guaura River. It's an area that is 60 kilometers long by 30 kilometers wide. In this area, the sacred city of Caral stands out. In the 21st century, 10 years ago, the Germans archaeology and the Peruvian archaeology discovery in Casma River, Sechin Bajo. Sechin Bajo has a ceremonial architecture, the 3,600 before Christian area. Is 1,800 before Caral civilization. In this first civilization, the presence of violence and war is not evidence. This is very important, thinking to connection with the Chinese, no? The common topic with the Chinese civilization. Early on 3,000 before Christ, we can see 3 sites with monuments architecture. In this area, no? The Fortaleza to Guaura River, no? This is the 60 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide. In 2,200 before Christian era, there were 11 ceremonial sites. No? In early 2 millennium before Christ, only 3 or 6. The principal period was the third millennium before Christian era. In the third millennium before Christian era, is the golden age, the Caral civilization, the Central Coast Peruvian civilization. Sechin River, now this is the original, the foundation, the Peruvian civilization, but in 10 years ago. No? Traditional now is Caral. In early 20th century, the people believe the origin of the Peruvian civilization was in the highlands in the Andes, but in 1819, changed to the Central Coast. Caral civilization connect Fortaleza River, Pativilca River, Super River. In Super River, we have Caral and Guaura River. We have 30 ceremonial centers and large multi-modes complex 100 hectares in these 4 rivers. Ceremonial centers are connecting a network of communication and competition. We can propose a concept, no? Competition emulation. Transmission the symbols, exchange the gods. They are so close that they are separated by a few kilometers. There are some ceremonial centers different 5 kilometers, 8 kilometers, very near. How we can understand a millennium of construction between Fortaleza and water rivers. Competition emulation. We can find any evidence the violence, any evidence the wars in this area? No. We can find evidence the battles, evidence the genocides or massacre? No. And this is very special, no? This is very special in Peruvian, in general, no? In ancient history in Peruvian, because after Caral civilization, in the other Andean civilization, they similar to Maya civilization or similar to Aztec civilization, use human sacrifice. Inca has human sacrifice, Wari human sacrifice, Chavin human sacrifice. Majority the Andean civilization use human sacrifice, but the Caral civilization, no. Or Central Coast Peruvian civilization, no use this human sacrifice. These several centers developed symbolic system to be adopted when it comes in contact with a less developed one. In Peru, irrigation presets state formation. It's not the specific invention that it's important, but cotton. The cotton was used to make nets that are needed to catch the innumerable fish like anchovy. The anchovy is the principal fish in the Peruvian nutrition. To increase the catch will require increased quantity of cotton. The idea is the fishery is connected with the irrigation. The fishery connect with the cotton. No, this is very special because in the other experience we connect the cows, the pigs with the agriculture, but in Peru the camels, llama, alpaca, the other is very late experience in Peruvian civilization. More important than llama, alpaca was the fishery. The agro-fishery was the foundation of this civilization. And the cotton, yes, the cotton is for the clothes, but at the same time for the fishery economy. It was a stimulus for the intensification of canal irrigation. It increased agriculture production. The foundation, the Andean agriculture, no potato, no maize in this moment. The foundation was beans. Beans before domesticated potatoes, before the maize. Maize is very late in Peru. Potato is the sixth millennium before Christ, but in the highlands. In the coast is 4th millennium before Christ, but we can find the burials. You can find more beans and more anchovy. Anchovy and beans, the principal nutrition for the Caral society. The architecture, well, in Caral architecture, we have state-side mounds, some circular courts, and we write Huanca. Huanca is a Quechua word. Huanca is a holy stone. We can find, we will see a photo. Caral has pyramid structure associated with circular plaza. In Super Valley, we can find Áspero is old fishing port, and 21 urban center along 45 kilometers. In this image, you can see Áspero. This is Supe Valley, Áspero, and this is Caral. This area we have 45 ceremonial centers. Well, this is Sechimbajo. Now is the origin the Peruvian coast civilization. Now, this is 10 years ago. No? The first we can find temple, pyramid temple associated with a circular place, no? Circular place. This is it's a plan de Caral. This is a pyramid with the circular amphitheater, circular place. No? In Caral, this is pyramid, this is temple with the circular place. No? And this is Huanca. This is Huanca, is a holy stone connect with the circular place and the temple. No, the temple. In the top of the temple, we have a sacred fire altar. In the top of the temple in Caral, we can this structure, this stove, this altar to the fire. In Caral, we have in each pyramids and fire altar. There are fire altar in the top of pyramid and also in near the pyramids. The principal elements in Caral is a huanca, is a round place, is a pyramids, temple pyramids, and the top of the pyramids, the fire, no, the fire, the circle, and the stone. The stone we can find square, no? Square inside and circle, no? Inside and circle, no? Square. The square is the original place, original plazas. And the square is the original fundamental of the temples. This is no, the square and the circular, no? The square is the temple, the circular is the very original all, and the middle, in the central, the fire. This is very idea, the Caral architecture, the Caral organization. Well, this is scan the altar fire. It's a circular place, pyramid, the altar fire, the Todos pyramid. Well, Sechín Bajo is the biggest architecture in second millennium before Christ in all America. It's similar to Caral, yes, because we have several circular plazas. No, Sechín Alto, no, second millennium before Christ, the pyramid, the temple, and the circular place. Well, in Casma, Casma has now this is the original Peruvian civilization. It's very small, 5 kilometers. We have Sechín Bajos, Sierra Sechín, Sechín Alto. Sechín Alto is the largest construction in Americas in second millennium. In Sechín, we have Chanquillo. Chanquillo is 300 before Christian era. Chanquillo is similar to Aguada Felix de Mexico. Do you remember in Maya? The Aguada Phoenix is an astronomical observation. It's similar to Chanquillo. Chanquillo is 30 walls connecting the solstices, no? The spring, the summer, and the winter in the south. This is the towers, 30 towers. This is the central complex and the western observing point and the eastern observing point. This is the ceremonial center near the walls. Casma is 80 kilometers north of Caral. Well, in Chinese, we know, no, Chinese is proposed no violence towards all living beings. The Chinese has a long tradition in architecture, has influenced the Hinduism in architecture. We have several examples, the Jain's temple, for example, Dilwara temple. It's a complex in Rajasthan, in Western India, in medieval area. This is Dilwara temple complex. There are principal 4 temples, 2 different the special name is 2 different Tirthankaras, Tirthankaras, the Jain saviors of human beings who achieve the ultimate spiritual salvation and serve as model for society. We have 24 Tirthankaras in Dilwara temple. The temples is in honor to one of these Tirthankaras. And temple, Jain temple, we have an example, it's controlled on a square plane with opening in 4 cardinal directions, each of which could lead to the image of Tirthankara. Example, Chamut temple to honor the first Jain Tirthankara, Sri Adinatha in Rajasthan. An example. The parts on Jain temples, the acute domes, the Shikara, the rising tower, or the Garbhagriha. Garbhagriha is the innermost sanctuary where reside the icons, the murti of the temple. The Antarala, the transitional space within the temple main hall, and the Garbhagriha, the architectural element, marks the liminal space within the exterior world and the divine world. The Madapa, a pillar house of pavilion for public rituals, and the Ardha Madapa, the entrance porch form a transitional area between outside world and the Mandapa. This is these elements, the part of the Jain temple is similar to Hindu temple, but it's a tradition in the architecture, Well, when you can find this different tradition, the different civilization, in spite of the distance, we can find a common between the Peruvian original civilization and Chinese civilization in the idea of the violence. No violence in Peruvian civilization. The idea in Peruvian civilization is how build, how connect with the emulation. The idea is competitive emulation. The difference ceremonial center built during 1 millennium, pyramids, huancas, and square plates. We can find slave workers, no evidence, the slave workers. There are communities, the agriculture and fishermen, and communities, the price. We can find evidence, the wars, no evidence the wars. We can find evidence the human sacrifice, no human sacrifice in this moment. Yes, in the other Peruvian civilization, Chavin, first millennium before Christ, Cuari, first millennium Christian area, and Inca, second millennium Christian area, yes, we have human sacrifice, but in Caral, we have not find human sacrifice. It's a pacifical and harmonious civilization. Well, in Caral, they has not pottery, yes, but has complex agriculture and complex distillery and complex fishery. They're very simple economy, yes, but very successful because the population is very high in this moment. In this area, in Pativilca to Guaira River, we have 100,000 people live in this moment. After this period, the population will love with low numbers. Well, we can find in this first review this contact between three civilization experience, the Maya, the Andean, and the Chinese. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
We can talk. We can
comes to an end now.
Comments.
Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Hector. It was very informative, very interesting, trying to correlate the things with the similarities and dissimilarities between Maya civilization and Chinese. Lots of information related to Karal civilization, pyramids, etc. We have now, meanwhile, 3 questions are there. One question is from Mr. Padam Kumar Patni from Dubai. Mr. Padam Kumar Patni, can you unmute? आप unmute करेंगे अपने आप को, पदम कुमार जी?
Please, friends, could you write your question in the chat, please?
He will first ask, and if required, he will write, because he may not be aware how to write the things. Okay, पदम कुमार जी पूछिए आप. पता नहीं क्या चीज आ गई. हेलो पदम कुमार जी.
पदम कुमार जी नहीं है अवेलेबल. अब बीएल
उन्होंने
जी
क्वेश्चन तो पूछा था, उनका क्वेश्चन लिखा हुआ है पदम कुमार पाटनी दुबई.
अच्छा. एलबी सेठी एक्चुअली वो वहाँ पे कैमरा के सामने नहीं है.
अच्छा, ये एलसी जैन साहब हैं क्या? डॉक्टर एलसी जैन, उनका क्वेश्चन था. 2 नंबर किसका है? 2 नंबर और 3 नंबर डिवाइस.
Sir, I am here. Sir.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please ask your question.
Yes. I want to ask, why in Maya civilization, why the human sacrifice was taking place? What can be the possible reason? First thing. Secondly, if we compare Jainism and Maya civilization, the gods in the pyramids in the Maya civilization, what type of gods were there? Has there any similarity with our Jain gods, Jain Tirthankar? I want to know that thing. These 2 things I want to know.
Thank you for your question. The first question is the human sacrifice in Mayan civilization. Okay?
Yes, that is the first question. Yes.
And the second question is the pyramids, no?
No, he said second question is names of the Tirthankars in Jainism.
What can be the similarity? The gods in the pyramids there in the Maya civilization and the Tirthankar, Jain Tirthankar, is there any similarity?
Well, I know there are Jainese experience is connect the
Tirthankar, yeah.
The Nate piece. Wait a moment. The Nate.
You may say Jain gods,
yes,
if you cannot pronounce it.
Tirthankaras, yes.
Tirthankar.
The Tirthankaras in the first, no? Tirthankaras in
Rishabdev Adinath.
Yes, in the other experience, no? In the other place, in the other regions. Okay. Well, in the mythological no, experience in the methodological expression in Maya civilization, in Aztec civilization, in Andean civilization. We have fundamental gods. No, the idea is the foreign, no, the foreign, no, entity to arrive to came to the region to teach the people, no, to teach the agriculture, to teach the civilization, and after this, no, these gods start civilization. This is a common in Incas, in Aztecas, and the other indigenous civilization, no, a saber, no, an original saber to start. Yes, we can find this is common experience in different indigenous American civilization, in mythological in Aztec, in mythological in Maya, in mythological in Andean. We can find entity and divine entity. This divine entity teach to people the agriculture, teach the people the state, no? Yes, it's a common experience. The human sacrifice, we can find in Peruvian experience, original, the society no use human sacrifice. Is, for example, in Caral, they use unclad figures, unclad image the human, and this human image broke. And this is a ceremony for start and pyramids. After Caral civilization, the other civilization start to kill human being, sacrifice human being to gods, to build a pyramid, to build a temple, no? But in the original, the people in Central Coast not use the human sacrifice. This is in Andean experience, this is the no original experience. The original experience is a connection, not violence with the God or with the nature, no? With the environmental. No?
Okay.
In the Maya, in the Azteca, in the original, yes, they use human sacrifice.
Okay, there is a question from.
Sir, one minute. Sir, 1 minute. I could not follow the resemblance between the gods in the Maya civilization and gods of Jainism. What is the, is there any similarity between the gods of Maya civilization present in the pyramids and the gods, Jain gods, Jain Tirthankar? Is there any similarity? Because I know that Maya civilization is nearly similar to Jain civilization. So that is how in the pyramids, the gods, whatsoever name you may give to your gods, but what can be the resemblance between the gods there and Jain gods? I want to know that. Any similarity?
We can find comparison within the activities of Tirthankaras and the activities within the gods in Maya or Aztec mythology. We can make a comparison within activities within God and Tirthankaras. Yes, we can find.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Rahul, there is a question. Rahul, 4 नंबर का जो डिवाइस है, नंबर 4 हैंड रेज है, कौन है? 4 नंबर का डिवाइस है, राहुल, उनको अनम्यूट करेंगे? राहुल, 4 नंबर पे कौन है? Meanwhile, we can take question of Professor Murad Khan, who asked a question to Professor Walmakar. Murad, can you ask question now? Your question can be addressed by Professor Hector. Can you ask him?
First of all, I would like to congratulate you for this enlightening presentation made on the comparative study on comparative relationship between two cultures, two large cultures in the world. In the recent times, we had done this research in your country, and I would like to ask you that is there any further possibility to explore more identities, explore more and more relationship between Jainism and the ancient civilizations of Peru? If you want, I can repeat that in Spanish, but I think you understood it. And later on, we would also like to further, on behalf of the organization, explore and see what are the situations of the ancient civilizations, as we saw in case of Caral, where we had gone personally. What is the situation in the northern part of Peru, in the jungles, which have been also very significant as far as the ancient history is concerned, Hector?
Well, for our experience, our challenge in South American experience, in Peruvian experience, our challenge is very local experience. It's very difficult for a Peruvian scholar to see another experience. China experience, India experience, Muslim experience is very difficult. Our challenge is very local experience, very Andean experience. The idea is in the future, in 21st century, the study in iconography, we can find in Caral a circle inside a square, okay? No, a square inside you can find a circle. Inside the circle you can find a fire, okay? This symbol is very universal, no? Square, circle, and fire. This symbol we can find in the other civilization. The idea is the agriculture is common in all the planet, okay? The agriculture, the fishery is common. We can find the similarity to approach this common topic. I believe is study iconology, is we study iconography, we will find common experience, China, India, and South America.
Yes.
We need, it is our challenge. In South America, in Peru, we have a local experience. We need more connection. We need more to see other experience. First, know the language, no? Language is the principal expression of the civilization, no? More language. I think this is a very difficult work, but we need to start.
Okay, good. राहुल 3 नंबर का डिवाइस एक और है, कुछ क्वेश्चन 3 नंबर और 4 नंबर ये किसका है राहुल? हाँ, यस, जीवराज जी जैन साहब अनम्यूट करें। जीवराज जी।
जय जिनेंद्र साहब।
जय जिनेंद्र। हाँ,
it was nice to hear this one. I got 1 or 2 questions. One is,
okay,
what is the meaning of Maya in the olden times? Can you explain to us the meaning of Maya?
Yeah, okay. Maya, really Maya, we can have an escriture, okay? We have an escriture in Maya classic periods, but we can several language, not only language, we can several language in Maya family. Maya has a complex multi-linguistic experience. The Maya civilization has a multi-linguistic experience, and this multicultural experience produce an homogeneous and common architecture and common aesthetic and common mythology? This is a question. This is a question because we need SPY, no? We has 100 study in Maya civilization, but for example, the Popol Vuh is very famous, no? Popol Vuh. Popol Vuh is the Bible, the Maya, but Popol Vuh is the one part of Maya population, not all Maya population, only a part, only a region, the Maya civilization. The idea that Maya in this 21st century, when people say the Maya is a creation, is an invention, the archaeology, the 20th century. There are difference between the Maya for archaeologists and the real Maya experience.
Oh, there's a difference.
We need more knowledge about the linguistic. We need more knowledge about the iconography. We need more knowledge about the aesthetic. Really, the aesthetic is the key for all civilization because the aesthetic is the connection between the elites and the people, no? The common people and the elites, the join in the music, the join in the painting, the join in the sculpture. But the study, the aesthetic is very difficult because the aesthetic is connected with the linguistic, with the language. And the language, the linguistic, the Maya is is very common. We can different language in different city states.
They used symbols instead
Yes,
of language.
They just a common escriture, correct? They are common escriture, but this similar to Mesopotamia. In Mesopotamia has cuneiform, but cuneiform use Sumerian, Akkadian, Urrita, Hittita, no, different language. In Maya is similar. It's a common escriture, no, but a different language, no, different family language. Really, we need more. Popol Vuh is only the highlands, the Maya, not the tropical Maya.
I find
in
similarity.
The Maya civilization, the first time in the highlands and the last time in the Yucatan in the lowlands. The Popol Vuh connect with the highlands, but the classical and post-classical Maya civilization is the lowlands. It's the difference.
They use symbols as well as I've seen, pictorial groups where I find in India or in Jainism, whatever we are showing in hell, we have got hell and heaven. In hell and in hell, whatever the people are doing there, the similar type of things I've seen in the pictograms of Maya civilization. People are having different types of mouth pieces. The head is different. It's just like animal heads or like this one. And it is similar to probably in Jainism, what we are showing in hell, how people are living there. So very much similarity. What is that concept? Body is similar like a human being, but heads are of different types of animals. If you can see this one.
Yes.
These are the.
Yes, I can see. Yes. Yes. Thank you. In our experience, a question and question for Dr. Stan is, when start the scripture in India? No, in Maya, scripture is early. In India, if you see the Asia scripture, you see Mesopotamian scripture, Egyptian scripture, and you find the Indian experience in scripture. The Indian scripture is very early, no? The Indus scripture, but the the common escriture is the very late, no, in the 4th century before Christ, no, the escriture in India, no. This is very special because the India has a long tradition in literature, but it's a memory, use the oral memory to preserve this tradition. It's very, very interesting, this capacity in this, the Indian oral tradition, no? Contrast with the other civilization. In indigenous civilization, we can find a similar experience, no? The long oral tradition, similar to Indian long oral tradition. We can find in this aspect common topics to sing and to research. Apart the iconography, no, you can find a common similarity in iconography. Yes, we can find, no, similar topics.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hector. Now, still there is a time. If there is anybody has question, he can raise hand. ये नंबर 4 डिवाइस और है एक 4 नंबर का डिवाइस किसका है? यस यस प्लीज पूछिए आप प्रश्न पूछिए, अनम्यूट करिए, आपका अनम्यूट करिए, अनम्यूट, हाँ उसको। आवाज नहीं आ रही है आपकी, अनम्यूट करिए। अनम्यूट करने आता है, वहां पे लेफ्ट में आपके वहां पे बटन होगा नीचे। राहुल, अंकल अनम्यूट नहीं हुआ अंकल आपका।
आपके राइट लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में कॉर्नर पे म्यूट का अनम्यूट का बटन होगा, उसे क्लिक करना है। क्या आप लैपटॉप पे हो? हेलो राजमल जी, इनका अनम्यूट नहीं हो रहा है। अपन अगला प्रश्न लेते हैं।
मुझे लग रहा है शायद लैपटॉप से कर रहे दिखते हैं
जी। अपन अगला प्रश्न लेते हैं। शायद से इन्हें अनम्यूट फिलहाल तो पॉसिबल नहीं हो रहा है।
अगला प्रश्न किसका है? अगला प्रश्न किसका है?
नीरा करके है।
हाँ, ले लीजिए, उनका ले लीजिए।
नीरा जी माइक अनम्यूट कर ले आप।
मीरा, हाँ करिए, अनम्यूट करिए उनको। हाँ, आप प्रश्न पूछिए। हाँ मैडम।
नहीं साहब, मेरा ऐसा कोई प्रश्न नहीं है। जय जिनेंद्र।
जय जिनेंद्र।
हाँ, सिर्फ यह है कि माया सिविलाइजेशन से संबंधित जो भी प्रश्न पूछे जाएं वो शायद प्राइवेटली पूछ लें तो वो ज्यादा अच्छा है।
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर लेक्चर हुआ है, टॉक हुई है, तो माया सिविलाइजेशन क्योंकि लगभग हमारी जैन धर्म जैसी सभ्यता संस्कृति थी, तो अगर पूछने में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सबके सामने ही। ये तो एक तरह से इंटरनेशनल वेबिनार है, तो पर्सनल पूछने से आपका क्या मीनिंग है? क्यों पर्सनल पूछवाना चाहती है? आपको क्या ऐसा कंसर्न है कि माया सिविलाइजेशन की बात अगर खुल जाएगी तो कोई समस्या हो जाएगी? ऐसा है कुछ
नहीं है। प्रश्न तो है, लेकिन मैं प्राइवेटली ही पूछ लूंगी। थैंक यू सर।
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, आप प्राइवेटली पूछिए। आप मुझे भी पूछ सकती है, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं, बाद में प्राइवेटली मुझे भी पूछ सकती है।
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू।
कोई नहीं, ठीक, थैंक यू। हाँ राहुल, इनका हो रहा है बेटा?
जी, आपको अनम्यूट हो रहा है। अजीत जी।
कौन अजीत जी? बेनाडे हैं ये?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
ओहो, जर्मनी से बोल रहे हैं और इनके अनम्यूट नहीं हो रहा है। अजीत जी, नहीं हो रहा है इनका।
आई थिंक हमेशा होता है शायद, कुछ प्रॉब्लम
नहीं,
होगा वहाँ
पहले
पे।
तो 2-3 बार इनका अच्छी तरह से चला है।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
हाँ, अनम्यूट हो जाता था। आज कुछ शायद ही है ही फेसिंग।
अजीत जी, आप एक बार लेफ्ट होके फिर से आ जाइए फटक से, तब तक अपन दूसरा प्रश्न ले लेते हैं।
और है, अब तो नहीं है ना कोई प्रश्न और?
प्रश्न तो शायद से नहीं है। चलिए, जो हैंड रेस हुए ऑलरेडी उनके लेने हैं अभी।
मैं
समय
वहां
के
पर 1 सेकेंड, प्रोफेसर भागचंद भास्कर बैठे हुए हैं और पदम जी पाटनी है क्या वहां पे? हाँ, पदम जी पाटनी, हाँ साहब। उन्होंने पहले वाले पे हैंड रेस किया था, गलती से हुआ था, ये प्रश्न है उनका। हाँ जी, पूछिए, अनम्यूट करिए अब, पदम जी पाटनी साहब।
जय जिनेन्द्र, उत्तम क्षमा।
हाँ, जय जिनेन्द्र सर।
एक्चुअली मैं भी अभी लास्ट में ही ज्वाइन किया, तो मुझे इतना समझ में नहीं आया कि क्या है, पर फिर भी मैंने कहा चलो ठीक है, कम से कम हम लोग ज्वाइन करते हैं तो कुछ तो समझ में आता है। जैसे अपने माया सिविलाइजेशन वगैरह कुछ बोलिए, तब मैं तो जानता ही नहीं माया सिविल, तो व्हाट इज द माया सिविलाइजेशन, ये क्या
तो फिर
इंडिया में है या
नहीं? डिटेल में फिर बात करें, क्योंकि अब तो लेक्चर पूरा खत्म हो चुका है कि माया सिविलाइजेशन और जैन सिविलाइजेशन दोनों के बीच में कंपैरिजन था कि क्या सिमिलरिटीज हैं और क्या डिससिमिलरिटीज हैं। मैं खुद आपको बताऊंगा, क्योंकि मैं माया सिविलाइजेशन पे थोड़ा बहुत नॉलेज अच्छा रखता हूं, तो अपन बाद में चर्चा करेंगे। अभी तो नहीं पूछ सकते कि व्हाट इज माया सिविलाइजेशन।
और निर्मल जी शेट्टी को मेरा जय जिनेन्द्र, नमस्कार, धोक
जी।
है यहाँ पर है क्या?
हाँ, बाबूजी बैठे हैं ना। बाबूजी तो ज्वाइन नहीं करेंगे तो कैसे होगा? अच्छा, भागचंद जी भास्कर है, तो जरा राहुल बेटा, भागचंद जी भास्कर से मैं पहला जो पेपर था, फर्स्ट पेपर प्रोफेसर वॉलकुमार का, तो भागचंद जी भास्कर से कमेंट चाहता हूं।
नहीं, मैं मुझे बोलने दो ना पहले इस पे माया सब। हेलो,
बोलिए साहब, बोलिए।
जी जी बोलिए।
हेलो।
हाँ हाँ, बोलिए बोलिए बाबूजी, बोलिए, आप बोलिए, आप बोलिए।
बोलो। देखिए, थैंक यू मिस्टर हेक्टर, आई थैंक यू वेरी मच for your all this deliberation. I show you here picture. You see everybody this picture.
Yes.
This is the two your images we found in Mexico Museum. This is Tirthankar image we found in Museum of Mexico Museum there. This shows that this is Kayosar Tirthankar image, Kayosar. So this is full proof that there was Jainism in your country, in your Maya civilization. There was Jainism there. There is another one which we found in your Tikal in Guatemala. This picture, this is Guatemala. This is also उपाध्याय, दिस तीर्थंकर उपाध्याय की मूर्ति है। ये जो उपाध्याय की मूर्ति वहां पर मिली है, जो तिकाल के अंदर में जो म्यूजियम है ग्वाटेमाला में, उसमें मिली है। और ये जो दो मूर्तियां मिली है, टू इमेजेस तीर्थंकर की, ये मेक्सिको की म्यूजियम में मिली है। दे आर टेलिंग दैट दे हैव फाउंड in excavation of 2600 BC site. So the civilization, this Jain civilization has got very good relation with Maya civilization, and in this country, your Peru, Guatemala, and Mexico. This we have, because these pictures are very clear. Another thing I am telling you that I have in your, when we went to your Peru, this your site, Caral site. You see, I have shown you that after going up about 100 feet height, there was a temple. In that temple, we have shown to you that there is a Vedi. Tirthankar Vedi was there. Tirthankar image was not there, but Vedi about 3 feet height and 2 foot by 4 feet or 3 feet like this thing. And down this Vedi, there were 2 drains. That shows that the Tirthankar ka abhishek wahan hota tha. Abhishek of Tirthankar used to be performed there, and there is water going, drain is there. because no other, neither in Buddhism, neither in your Buddhism, neither in your Christianity, neither in your Muslim, there is no Abhishek is done. The Abhishek there was, and that was also very old site. This Karal site is very old site. And in that site, we have found that the Abhishek of Tirthankar used to be performed there. So this is a very important thing also there. Similar thing we have found in Mexico. In Mexico, there is 2 kilometers long temples, both sides. And in the temples, when we went to above side, then we found that there is also drains are there. That shows that Abhishek used to be performed in old time, and that is a proof that Jainism was there, and Abhishek Parampara, pouring water and milk on the image of Tirthankar, was there in India also, and in those countries also. So we can, if you go in deeply in all those things, we can find many things there, many things, because so far the potteries are concerned, the same potteries which we find in your Mulbadri, the same potteries we have found in your Mexico and in Guatemala. So there is a very good scope to study all those things. And I thank you, Mr. Hector. He has given us 3 days time of seminar in your university there. So we are very grateful to you. And we invite you today to come to India with your other people who are interested to see India. We will arrange your sightseeing things in India, and you will also will understand more things when you come to India. So we invite you to India, and also Mr. Bolkar also, we invite him to India, and he has told about Silk Route. So Silk Route, we are planning with Mr. Our previous Director General of Archaeology, Rakesh Tiwari ji. He is thinking to visit the Silk Route in a detail and study there. So we will take your guidance also about Silk Route, and we will try to take more this thing. So, hello. मैं निर्मल सेठी बोल रहा हूँ, बात हो गई मेरी. Hello. So what is the thing is that my suggestion to Mr. Hector and to Volmer, that we should study this aspect, because in ancient time Jainism was in vogue. You see today also in India, when we excavate the things, anywhere we build building, we found the Jain images are there. This shows that Jainism was there in ancient time all over the world. And you see in Ethiopia, we have found 3 Jain temples which are 1300 BC old. So what is that if we study this Peru and all these sites of particular, and I am telling you about our Acharya Vidyanidhi Maharaj. Last 40 years, he used to tell me, Mr. Nirmal, please go to Guatemala, go to Mexico, because Maya civilization is very much related to Jain civilization. So his words has become true, and he has given me आशीर्वाद on this thing. And मैं आप सब लोग जो सुन रहे हैं मुझे, मैं आप सबसे निवेदन करता हूं कि महासभा के इस कार्य के अंदर में आप लोग अपना आशीर्वाद दीजिए, आप अपने गुड विशेष दीजिए, और आप हमें आशीर्वाद दीजिए और हमें प्रोत्साहित कीजिए, ताकि हम ये जो पूरी सभ्यता है उसको हम स्टडी कर सके. और राजमल जी को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं, तो इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं और इतना सारा कार्य को ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं, तो हम राजमल जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देते हैं. और एलसी जैन साहब को भी बहुत धन्यवाद देते हैं, बहुत स्टडी करते हैं. आप इस पे एलसी जैन साहब और स्टडी करिए, हम आपके साथ पूरा कोऑपरेट करेंगे. और आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू हेक्टर many times. Mr. Hector, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mal. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
There is one more question. Hello. मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
यस आ रही है.
हाँ, एक डॉक्टर हरि किशोर प्रसाद सिंह है, उनका प्रश्न लीजिए. डॉक्टर हरि किशोर प्रसाद सिंह. यस सर, अनम्यूट करेंगे, आप प्रश्न पूछिए सर. प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन. डॉक्टर हरि किशोर.
डॉक्टर साहब अपना माइक अनम्यूट कर लेवे.
हेलो।
हाँ यस, आवाज आ रही है। प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
अजमल जी, मेरा आवाज आ रहा है?
आ रहा है।
डॉक्टर हरि किशोर।
नहीं नहीं, ये अभी बेनाडी जी बोल रहे हैं, बेनाडी जी।
अच्छा, अजीत कुमार जी बेनाडी, आपकी आवाज आ गई है।
हाँ,
आगे
मैंने बोला कि where are the pictures showing the similarity between Tirthankars in India, and there are any statues showing that? I don't see any pictures.
Yes.
Professor Hector.
Yes,
I am showing you.
This you have shown it. Yes, okay. But no, see, not enough. There should be some more. See. Yeah, that I agree. No, but you see, I want to know from the professor if he has done any. They should have done more research on that. No. Yes, I need this part, the research, no, to find comparison between the image, the glyph, the Mayan glyph to the Tirthankaras. Yes. We need to comparison the image. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Nirmal Kumar ji, you have seen that, but you see, I want the professor where he is, or you should do some more research. Yes. Thank you for your question, Professor. Yes, we need to comparison this image, iconography, the Tirthankaras, and the iconography, the gods, the Mayan gods. Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Ajit Kumar Benadi. Hello. Professor Hector already told that there is a lot of potential and we need to do more exploration employing iconography. He told that more research work is required, including the iconographies. So I think more important tasks are ahead. Okay. Next question is by Dr. Hari Kishore.
Ajmal ji, one more point. You see,
okay.
We must have the thing that Sutra defines all the areas which are there in the Madhyamaloka. So you see, the rivers are mentioned in South America somewhere. They are not mentioned in Tattva Sutra. No, I want to know more. See how expand this thing. Did you
are asking to him, right?
No, I'm mentioning to you because
you are asking to me. You are asking to me this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I want to tell you that all these studies, comparison with the Maya civilization, okay, and with the other civilization, it is in very preliminary and very primitive stage. Number one, it is only Mr. Nirmal Kumar Sethi, his personal individual interest and Mahasabha interest that we are conducting, and we have not visited all the countries. We have visited hardly 5 or 7 or maybe maximum 10 countries. And in this Maya civilization, only one visit was there, that is Peru, Guatemala, and Mexico. And a lot of work, I tell you, lot of work is required to explore the possibility of connection, of similarities. And what you are saying, that Madhya Loka and other things, even the statue to statue similarity or dissimilarity, lot of work is required for that. And lot of funding is also required for that. Please remember, it requires lot of funding because travel, international travel nowadays is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next by Hari Kishore ji se मैं request करता हूँ. I request Dr. Hari Kishore. Rahul, Dr. Hari Kishore Singh हैं?
He's there.
हाँ, उनको अनम्यूट करो राहुल. डॉक्टर हरि किशोर सिंह. हाँ, यस सर. Please ask your question. Unmute yourself. Please unmute your mic and ask question.
The mic is on.
I think he is also
Already unmuted.
already unmuted.
Yeah.
हाँ, आपकी आवाज आ रही है शायद.
Just speak.
Yes.
Dr.
Please
Hari
ask your question.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, I think he is not able to unmute, and now that it is more time than what we thought. If there is any question,
हेलो
yes. कौन है?
राहुल बात करो.
हाँ
उनकी
राहुल,
आवाज नहीं आ
उनकी
रही है.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है ना हरि
हाँ,
किशोर जी की.
जी नहीं.
हाँ, और कोई क्वेश्चन रह गया है? Now if there are no other questions, हैं?
अभी कोई प्रश्न नहीं रहे हैं.
बस ठीक है, मैं अब एंड करने वाला हूं, मुझे खत्म करने दीजिए. ठीक है? Okay, if there are no more questions, then I would like to end this session, and I would like to express हेलो, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
आ रही है.
हाँ. So I would like to express my sincere thanks to Professor Walkmar, Professor Hector for giving very informative, very descriptive and very potential talks of in the today's session. Both the talks were actually of very much of great importance for our Jainism. The Silk Route as well as the Maya civilization both have the in roots immediate our ancestors' connections in Silk Route as well as in the Maya civilization. In fact, even beyond, before Maya civilization, I would like to say the Jainism Shraman culture signatures were there, and we have observed in the Peru as well as in Guatemala and in Mexico, many kinds of Shraman culture civilization, the signatures were there. So I think it is need not to emphasize much that the Jainism, which we call today, the earlier time, the Shraman culture or Niganta tradition, which was existing at that time. So it was actually much, much older than any religion, any tradition, because it is related with the religion of the nature or with the system of the nature. So I express my humble, sincere thanks to all of you for attending these lectures. I think I could not invite Dr. Lata Dani. She is also there, but maybe next time we will take her comments. Now the time is over of the channel. चैनल का टाइम हो चुका है और डॉक्टर लता दानी है, तो फिर भी मैं 2 मिनट उनसे जरूर बात करना चाहता हूं. डॉक्टर लता दानी है? राहुल बेटा देखो जरा. डॉक्टर लता दानी नाम है, नहीं है?
जी नहीं है.
अच्छा, वो निकल चुकी होंगी. शुरू में थी, मैंने जो देखा था, शी वाज देयर. और अभी आप सबको नवरात्रि की शुभकामनाएं. अभी दशहरा आ रहा है, आपको सबको बड़ी बड़ी शुभकामनाएं सभी लोगों को. एंड हैव ए नाइस इवनिंग. थैंक यू वेरी मच टू ऑल ऑफ यू.